You know the answer in English, so why does your mind suddenly go blank when a native speaker looks at you and waits? Hello everyone and welcome back to Talk Grow English. I'm Amma, and today's lesson is different from anything we have done before on this channel. Today, you will not sit quietly and collect more English. You will listen, react, shadow, reflect, and speak with me in real time. Maybe you can understand a podcast when the room is calm. You can follow a film with English subtitles. You may even know exactly which grammar structure you need. But then you enter a casual conversation and everything changes. Someone asks, "So, what have you been up to lately?" You understand every word, but your mind begins building an answer in your first language. You translate it into English. You check the grammar. You search for a more natural verb. Finally, your sentence is ready, but the group is already talking about something else. Does that moment feel familiar? If it does, please hear this clearly. You are not slow, and you are not bad at English. Your brain has simply learned a processing habit. It receives English, moves through translation, prepares a careful answer, and only then gives you permission to speak. That habit may have helped you in exams. In a fast conversation, however, it pulls you away from the present moment. And conversation lives in the present. It moves through quick reactions, unfinished thoughts, connected words, changes of direction, and small signals like right, exactly, and I see what you mean. So today, we are going to build a new habit together. You will hear English that is fast but clear. You will notice what happens when words connect, sounds soften, and familiar phrases seem to disappear inside a sentence. You will also practice reacting before you overthink. Then you will learn how to turn a short answer into a fuller, more natural response. This does not mean speaking carelessly. It does not mean ignoring grammar or rushing every sentence. It means staying present long enough to take part in the conversation. Sometimes your first response may be only 3 words. That is fine. 3 natural words at the right moment are often more useful than one perfect sentence that arrives too late. Let's feel the difference right now. Imagine I ask you, "What did you do this morning?" Answer me in English with the first true idea that comes to you. Did an English answer appear, or did you quietly translate the question first? Be honest with yourself. There is no score here, and this is not a test. If you needed more time, you could have said, "That's a good question." Repeat after me, "That's a good question." That phrase is not an empty delay. It shows the other person that you are engaged while giving your mind a natural conversational beat. You can also say, "Let me think for a second." Repeat it with me. Let me think for a second. Good. You hesitated, but you stayed inside the conversation. And that is the key. Hesitation is allowed, but disappearing from the conversation is not your only option. Let's try another question. What is something you have been thinking about recently? Answer with the first honest idea that appears. What happened in your mind? Did you begin speaking? Or did you search for a perfect opening? If you needed a moment, you could begin with, to be honest. Repeat after me, to be honest. Now complete it with your own idea. To be honest, I've been thinking about. That little phrase gives you somewhere to begin. Once your voice starts moving, the rest of the sentence often becomes easier to find. Let's make this more conversational. I'll ask a question, and you respond immediately with one of our rescue phrases. What would you change about your daily routine? You could say, "That's a good question. Why are some conversations easier than others?" You could say, "Let me think for a second. Do you enjoy meeting new people?" You could begin, to be honest. Good. You are not avoiding the answer. You are creating enough space to reach it without leaving the conversation. Now choose one question and add a real answer. Keep it short at first. To be honest, I'm usually a little quiet. Then expand it naturally. To be honest, I'm usually a little quiet when I first meet someone, but I become more talkative once I feel comfortable. Notice how the longer answer grew from one simple truth. You did not need to design the entire sentence before speaking. This is how we will work throughout the lesson. First, react. Then give a short answer. After that, add one useful detail. Your answer does not need to sound impressive. It needs to sound alive. Perhaps you are thinking, "But Emma, native speakers respond so quickly that I cannot even find a place to enter." I understand. Fast conversation can feel like trying to step onto a moving train. But native speakers are not always producing perfect, complete sentences. They use small reactions, unfinished thoughts, familiar patterns, and connected sounds. They say things like, "Yeah, I know what you mean," or, "Actually, I'm not really sure." Those phrases help them remain present while their next idea is still forming. Soon, you will use them too, not as memorized decorations, but as real tools for real moments. So if your mind goes blank today, do not judge yourself. Notice the blank moment. Use an English reaction and let one small answer come through. With practice, silent translation will become quieter, and your English reactions will become faster and more natural. Now that you can recognize the moment you lose your response, listen closely to what fast English is really doing. Fast English is not careless English. It is connected English, shaped by rhythm, expectation, and meaning. In a classroom, you may hear, "What are you doing?" Every word sounds clear and separate. In a real conversation, the same question may sound closer to, "What are you doing?" The words have not disappeared. They have simply joined together. Listen again. What are you doing? Now naturally, what are you doing? Did you hear the important sound? Doing remained clear because it carries the main idea. Your brain does not need to examine every tiny sound before it understands the question. This is a powerful shift. Instead of waiting for separate words, listen for one meaningful sound group. Let us try a simple cycle. First, just listen. What do you want to do? In natural conversation, it may sound like, "What do ya wanna do?" Notice how the beginning moves quickly toward the stressed word, do. Now repeat after me. What do you want to do? Again, more smoothly. What do ya wanna do? One more time, without forcing every word. What do ya wanna do? Good. Do not try to create a perfect accent. Let the question move as one complete thought. Here is another everyday question. Listen first. Did you get a chance to call her? At natural speed, did you may blend together, and to becomes very light. Did ya get a chance to call her? The clearest ideas are get a chance and call her. Those stressed words guide you toward the meaning. Repeat after me. Did you get a chance to call her? Now connect it. Did you get a chance to call her? Imagine a coworker asking you this while putting on a coat and walking toward the door. There is background noise. You miss one small sound. Can you still follow the question? Yes, because the situation helps you predict the message. You hear chance and call her, and your mind builds the rest. Try one more. Are you going to be around later? In relaxed speech, it may sound closer to, "Are ya gonna be around later?" Listen to the rhythm. Are ya gonna be around later? The strongest information arrives in around later. Repeat it slowly once. Are you going to be around later? Now say it as one flowing question. Are ya gonna be around later? Beautiful. If one sound feels unclear, stay with the sentence. Do not stop mentally and rewind while the speaker continues. Let us place that question inside a real moment after work. Listen for the situation, not every word. Are you gonna be around later? A few of us are getting something to eat. Actually, I might be. What time are you going? What is happening here? Someone is inviting a coworker to join a casual meal, and the coworker has not made a final decision yet. Listen again and focus only on the key decision. Are you gonna be around later? Actually, I might be. The word actually gives the speaker a little space. It also suggests that the answer may be different from what the other person expected. Now notice how the meaning changes when the stress changes. Actually, I might be. With gentle uncertainty, it sounds open. Actually, I might be. Repeat it that way. With more confidence, the same phrase becomes, actually, I might be. Let your voice land firmly on might. And for polite disagreement, try actually, I don't think I can. Keep actually soft, not sharp. Say it with me, actually, I don't think I can. Good. You are not only repeating words, you are practicing the feeling behind the response. Let us add another flexible phrase. Your coworker asks, "Do you want to grab dinner after work?" You answer, "It depends." What time are you thinking? If you are genuinely unsure, keep it light. It depends. Repeat with uncertainty. It depends. If you already know there is one important condition, stress the final word. It depends. Now say it with quiet confidence. It depends. For polite disagreement, your tone can become slightly firmer. It depends. I've got an early start tomorrow. Repeat the full thought. It depends. I've got an early start tomorrow. Now listen to the complete exchange. Do not chase every sound. Follow the plan. Are you gonna be around later? A few of us are getting something to eat. Actually, I might be. What time are you thinking? Probably around 7. Do you want to come? It depends. I've got a few things to finish first. What is the key decision? The second speaker may join, but only after finishing some work. Shadow the first question with me. Are ya gonna be around later? Again, one smooth sound group. Are you gonna be around later? Now shadow the response. Actually, I might be. What time are you thinking? Keep moving even if your pronunciation is not perfect. Rhythm first, details later. Ready for a quick recognition challenge? Listen and catch the situation. Wadaya wanna do this weekend? That was, what do you want to do this weekend? The stressed words were do and weekend. Next one. Did you get a chance to email him? You heard a completed task question. Did you get a chance to email him? One more. Are you gonna be home later? The speaker wants to know about your availability. You do not need every tiny sound to understand that. Answer quickly in your own words. Are you gonna be home later? You might say, actually, I should be, or I'm not really sure, but I'll let you know. Excellent. Predict the meaning, listen for stressed words, and stay with the sentence when one small sound disappears. Hearing connected speech is the first step, but fast conversation also depends on what you do in the first 2 seconds after someone speaks. Those first 2 seconds can decide whether the conversation flows or suddenly feels difficult. Perhaps you know the answer, but you try to build the perfect sentence before you speak. While you are translating and checking every word, the other person is waiting. Now compare that silence with this. That's a good question. Let me think for a second. Do you feel the difference? You have not given the answer yet, but you have already responded warmly. Native speakers do this all the time. They react first, then shape the rest of the thought. Imagine a colleague asks, "Would you ever work in another country?" Instead of freezing, begin with, "That's a good question." Then add, "I'd say yes, if the right opportunity came along." The reaction gives you breathing room. More importantly, it keeps you connected to the other person. Let's build a small family of reactions you can trust under pressure. When someone shares an opinion and you understand their point, say, "I see what you mean." Your friend says, "Working from home is convenient, but I miss talking to people." You reply, "I see what you mean." It can feel a little isolating. When an explanation feels logical, use, "That makes sense." Someone tells you, "I study early because my mind is clearer in the morning." You can say, "That makes sense. I find it easier to focus then, too." Sometimes you need to correct an assumption or introduce a different truth. That is where actually feels natural. Do you usually drive to work? Actually, I take the train most days. And when you do not know the full answer, you do not need to hide your uncertainty. Say, "I'm not really sure, but." Then offer the best answer you can. "Is that cafe open on Sundays?" "I'm not really sure, but I think it closes around 5. Notice how honest and relaxed that sounds. Uncertainty does not stop the conversation. It becomes part of your response. Now repeat after me. "That's a good question." Again, with genuine curiosity. "That's a good question. Let me think for a second." Let it sound thoughtful, not apologetic. "Let me think for a second." "I see what you mean." This time, sound interested and open. "I see what you mean. That makes sense." Say it with warm understanding. "That makes sense. Actually, I prefer working in the morning." Again, a little faster. "Actually, I prefer working in the morning." "I'm not really sure, but I can check." One more time, gently and confidently. "I'm not really sure, but I can check." Good. Now let's move from repetition to real reactions. I will ask a question, and you will begin speaking immediately with one of those phrases. You do not need your complete answer yet. Your only job in the first 2 seconds is to open the door. So let's open that door. Do you enjoy your current work or studies? React now before you search for the perfect answer. You might say, "That's a good question. I'd say I enjoy most of it because I'm always learning." Hear the pattern. React, answer, then add one detail. Now, what part of your daily routine would you like to change? Begin immediately. "Let me think for a second. I'd probably change my morning routine because." Your turn. What would you change? and why? Good. Did the detail come slowly? That's completely fine. The reaction phrase kept you connected while your next thought was forming. Imagine a friend says, "Learning English every day is better than studying for 5 hours once a week." How would you respond? You could say, "That makes sense. A short daily habit feels easier to maintain." Or perhaps, "I see what you mean, but some days I need a longer break." Exactly. Reacting does not mean agreeing completely. It simply shows that you heard the other person and understood their point. Let's speed it up. I'll ask a question. Respond at once with the phrase I give you, then continue in your own words. Has technology made your life less stressful? Start with, "Actually, do you learn better alone or with others?" Begin, "It depends. Would you give up social media for a month?" Say, "To be honest," and add your real opinion. What do you do on a free evening? Begin with, "I'd say," and name one specific activity. One more. Which skill would you most like to improve this year? Try, "That's a good question. Let me think for a second." Notice what changed. You did not wait for a perfect sentence. You reacted first, answered second, and added detail third. That order gives your brain room to work in English. Now let's use it in a mini role play. I'm your colleague after a busy meeting. You seemed unusually quiet today. Is everything okay? Respond warmly. You might say, "I see what you mean. Actually, I was concentrating on a difficult problem." I reply, "That makes sense. Do you think you'll solve it soon?" Your turn. Begin with, "I'm not really sure, but," add one detail, "I'm not really sure, but I think I'll have a solution by tomorrow. I just need to test one more idea." Shadow me, "I'm not really sure, but I think I'll have a solution by tomorrow." Again, more smoothly, "I'm not really sure, but I think I'll have a solution by tomorrow." Now say the full thought, "I'm not really sure, but I think I'll have a solution by tomorrow. I just need to test one more idea." Here is your final challenge. What is one habit that has improved your life? Give me a reaction phrase, a direct answer, and one supporting detail. Then keep the conversation alive by asking, "What about you?" Start speaking now. Let your answer grow naturally instead of forcing it to arrive all at once. When your first reaction comes in English, keep the rest of the thought in English too. And that growing answer becomes much easier when it begins with meaning, not translation. Think about the journey your mind sometimes takes. You hear English, convert it into your language, create an answer there, and then convert that answer back into English. That is a long mental trip. No wonder you sometimes know what you want to say, but cannot say it quickly enough. So let's try a gentler route. Notice the situation, form a simple meaning, and connect that meaning directly to English. You do not need a perfect sentence first. You need a real image, feeling, intention, or memory. Let's practice with an ordinary morning. Picture the place where you woke up today. What was the light like? Perhaps the room was bright. Perhaps it was still dark. Think only in simple English. The light was soft, or the sun was already bright. Say one short thought about the light now. Good. Do not search for an impressive adjective. Choose the first clear phrase that matches what you remember. Now notice the temperature in that memory. Was the room warm, cool, or slightly uncomfortable? Form the thought directly. It felt a little cold, or the room was warm and comfortable. Repeat after me. It felt a little cold when I got out of bed. Again, with a smoother rhythm. It felt a little cold when I got out of bed. Now return to your own morning. What could you hear? Maybe you heard traffic, birds, a coffee machine, running water, or someone moving in another room. Choose one sound and say, I could hear. Then complete the sentence. Notice what just happened. You did not begin with grammar. You began with a sound, and the English sentence followed it. Let's continue. What was the first task waiting for you? Keep it plain and honest. I needed to answer some messages. I had to get ready for work. I wanted to make breakfast. And how did you feel about the day ahead? Calm, rushed, curious, tired, or hopeful? Try this natural opening. To be honest, I felt a little tired, but I was ready to start. Repeat after me. To be honest, I felt a little tired. Add the contrast. To be honest, I felt a little tired, but I was ready to start. That answer is not complicated, but it feels alive because it comes from a real moment. Now I'll give you a choice. Do you prefer working from home or working in an office? See the two places before you answer. Picture your desk at home. Then picture an office with other people around you. Which image feels better? Begin with, I'd say. For example, I'd say I prefer working from home because I can focus more easily. Your turn, I'd say. Give your choice and one simple reason. If your answer came quickly, notice why. You were choosing between two clear pictures, not translating an abstract idea word by word. Now try another choice. Do you prefer city life or a quiet town? Picture the sounds, the streets, and the pace before you answer. Begin with, I'd say. Maybe you say, I'd say I prefer city life because there's always something happening. Or perhaps, I'd say I prefer a quiet town because I enjoy having more space and less noise. Your answer does not need to sound impressive. It needs to sound like you. Let's try one more. Do you prefer planning ahead or being spontaneous? Imagine your calendar full of plans. Now imagine waking up and deciding what to do as the day unfolds. To be honest, which one feels more natural for you? You might say, to be honest, I like planning ahead because it helps me feel prepared. Or, to be honest, I prefer being spontaneous because I don't like every minute to be decided in advance. Notice what happened. You saw a situation, felt a preference, and connected that feeling to a simple English sentence. Some learners worry that advanced English means using long words and complicated grammar every time they speak. But imagine someone asks, "How was your weekend?" You could give a complicated answer. My weekend provided an opportunity for considerable personal restoration after an exceptionally demanding week. That is grammatically possible, but it does not sound like a relaxed conversation. A clear answer would be, "It was quiet. I needed some time to rest." The second answer is faster, more natural, and more emotionally honest. It gives the listener something real. So if you understand a difficult word, that's wonderful. But you do not need a difficult word when a clear word carries the meaning. Let's make this personal with an English-only chain. I'll ask a question. You picture a real memory. Then you say one sentence and add one reason. What is a place where you feel comfortable? Think of the place now. Maybe it's your bedroom, a small cafe, a park, or your family home. Say, "I feel comfortable in," and name the place. Now add one reason. I feel comfortable in this cafe because it's quiet and familiar. Let's do another. What is something you enjoyed recently? Don't search for the perfect answer. Let one memory appear. You could say, I enjoyed cooking dinner because I tried a new recipe. Or, I enjoyed talking with a friend because I hadn't seen her in a long time. Did that answer feel more personal when you began with a memory instead of a translation? That small difference matters, meaning gives your words direction, and direction helps your response arrive faster. You can now begin with a real thought. So let's turn that thought into an answer that grows naturally. Now let's turn a short answer into a real conversational answer. You do not need a long speech. Use this simple rhythm: answer, reason, example, and a question back. Imagine someone asks, "Do you enjoy cooking?" You could say, "Yes, I do." That is correct. But it gives the conversation nowhere to go. Try this instead. "Yes, I do. I like making simple meals because it helps me slow down after a busy day. Last night, I made pasta with fresh vegetables. What about you?" Notice the movement. You answered, explained why, added one small example, and invited the other person to speak. Repeat after me. Yes, I do. I like making simple meals because it helps me slow down after a busy day. Now add the final detail. Last night, I made pasta with fresh vegetables. What about you? Good. It sounds personal, but not memorized. That is the goal. One clear thought, followed by one useful detail. Let's try another situation. Someone asks, how do you usually get to work? Start with, I usually take the train. Now expand it. I usually take the train because driving in traffic is stressful. It takes about 30 minutes, so I listen to a podcast on the way. What about you? Say the first part. I usually take the train because driving in traffic is stressful. Now add the example. It takes about 30 minutes, so I listen to a podcast on the way. Did that feel easier when you added one detail at a time? You were not planning a speech. You were simply answering the next natural question. Now let's talk about exercise. Do you exercise regularly? Begin with, yes, I do. Then make it more honest. Yes, I do. I try to go for a walk every evening because it clears my head. The thing is, I do not always have much energy after work. What about you? The thing is, introduces a complication. It makes your answer sound real, because everyday life is rarely perfect. Say it with me. The thing is, I do not always have much energy after work. Complete this sentence. I enjoy spending time with friends because. Take a moment and answer naturally. You might say, I enjoy spending time with friends because I can be myself around them. We often meet for coffee and talk about ordinary things. What about you? That final question keeps the conversation open. Here is one more. What are you doing this weekend? A short answer is, I'm staying home. Make it warmer. I'm staying home this weekend because I need a little rest. I might cook something new and call my sister. What about you? Repeat the complete answer. I'm staying home this weekend because I need a little rest. I might cook something new and call my sister. What about you? Excellent. Now improve this answer. Do you like your neighborhood? Yes, I do. Add one detail, one feeling, and one follow-up question. Yes, I do. It is quiet, and I feel comfortable walking around there in the evening. What about your neighborhood? Keep this rhythm close. Answer, reason, detail, question. A longer answer does not require complicated grammar. It needs one honest feeling and one small piece of your life. That is how a short answer grows into a real conversation. And now, let's make your answers feel more alive. In real conversation, you are not just sharing information. You are responding to another person's ideas and keeping the connection open. Imagine someone says, I love cooking at home. A flat reply is, "Me too." A warmer answer is, "I do too." The thing is, I usually cook when I want to slow down after a busy day. What kind of food do you like making? Notice the pattern, agree, add a personal detail, then ask a question. Repeat it with me, I do too. The thing is, I usually cook when I want to slow down after a busy day. What kind of food do you like making? You are not giving a speech. You are simply giving the other person something to respond to. Here's another example. Someone says, "My commute is exhausting." You could say, "I see what you mean. Mine is not too bad, but the traffic can be frustrating." Do you usually drive or take public transport? Say it naturally and let the words connect. I see what you mean. Mine is not too bad, but the traffic can be frustrating. Now let's practice a gentle disagreement. Someone says, "I think working out in the morning is the best." You might answer, "That makes sense. I prefer exercising in the evening, though, because I have more energy then." What about you? The word "though" softens your disagreement. You acknowledge the other person before adding your own experience. Let's try a quick challenge. Do you enjoy meeting new people? Don't stop at yes. I do. Add one reason, one feeling, and one question. A natural answer could be, "Yes, I do. I enjoy hearing different points of view, and I usually feel curious rather than nervous." What about you? Now answer again in your own words. Here's one more. Are you good at making plans? Start with, "Not always." Then add a reason, a small example, and a question. You could say, "Not always. The thing is, I like having a plan, but I sometimes change my mind at the last minute." Are you more spontaneous? If you need time, use a natural reaction phrase, "Let me think for a second." For example, "Let me think for a second." I'd say I'm fairly organized, but weekends are different. I prefer leaving some space for unexpected plans. What about you? That sounds thoughtful, not slow. Now let's place these patterns in a real social situation. You meet someone at a small gathering, and they ask, "How do you know the host?" You could answer, "We work together. We started on the same project last year, and we became friends after that." What about you? They say, "I'm her neighbor." Respond warmly, "That's nice. It must be convenient having a friend so close by." Do you see each other often? They answer, "Yes, we do. We sometimes have dinner together." You might say, "That sounds lovely. I enjoy shared meals too, especially when nobody has to make the conversation feel perfect." That is a real conversational turn, a response, a feeling, and a gentle link to your own life. So remember, longer answers help you express yourself, but fluency is not simply speaking more. It is knowing how to agree, ask a thoughtful question, or disagree without breaking the connection. And one of the easiest ways to protect that connection is to show that you have really heard the other person. A flat response like yes may be correct, but it can sound automatic. Compare it with, that makes sense. Can you feel the difference? That makes sense, tells the speaker. I understand your reasoning. It does not always mean, I completely agree with your conclusion. Imagine a colleague says, I prefer working remotely because I can focus better at home. You might respond, that makes sense. It's easier to concentrate without people interrupting you. Perhaps you prefer the office. You can still respect their point before adding your own view. That makes sense. But I think it depends on the kind of work you do. Repeat after me. That makes sense. But I think it depends. Again, a little faster. That makes sense. But I think it depends. Notice how the words connect. But I become smooth and light. Do not force every word apart. Let the thought move as one unit. Another useful response is, I see what you mean. It sounds thoughtful because you are recognizing the other person's perspective. Someone says, social media helps us stay connected. You answer, I see what you mean, but the thing is, it can also make people feel strangely alone. That is gentle disagreement. You are not attacking the person or rejecting everything they said. You are opening another side of the conversation. Try it with me. I see what you mean, but the thing is, it can become a habit. One more time, with calm conversational stress. I see what you mean, but the thing is, it can become a habit. Now listen to this opinion at natural speed. I think everyone should travel alone at least once. You learn more when nobody else is making decisions for you. What kind of response fits best? Agreement, uncertainty, curiosity, or polite resistance? If you agree, you could say, that makes sense. You have to rely on yourself. If you are uncertain, try, I'm not really sure, but I can see why people find it rewarding. If you feel curious, ask, that's interesting. What did you learn when you traveled alone? And if you want to resist politely, say, I see what you mean, but I'd say it depends on the person. Now answer quickly. Do not translate. I will give you an opinion, and you choose a natural reaction. Watching English videos is enough to become fluent. You might say, I see what you mean. But the thing is, you also need to speak. Studying for 3 hours once a week is better than practicing for 10 minutes every day. Perhaps your response is, I'm not really sure. I'd say regular practice is more effective. Good. Your reaction does not need to be perfect. It needs to show that you listened, formed a thought, and stayed connected to the person. Exactly. A natural reaction does not simply say yes or no. It shows how your mind is moving with the conversation. Listen to this opinion. People who work from home are less productive. Choose your response before I give you one. You might say, I see what you mean, but I think it depends. Some people work better without interruptions. Notice the movement in that answer. First, you acknowledge the other person. Then you add your own view without making the conversation tense. Try another one. Social media is a waste of time. A flat answer would be, yes, exactly. A more responsive answer could be, that makes sense, but I'd say it depends on how you use it. Now repeat after me. That makes sense, but I'd say it depends. Again, keep the stress on makes sense and depends. Let but I'd connect naturally. That makes sense, but I'd say it depends. One more opinion. Traveling is always better than staying home. Your response might be, I see what you mean, but the thing is, travel can be exhausting and expensive. Repeat, I see what you mean, but the thing is, travel can be exhausting and expensive. Keep it conversational. Do not pronounce every word with equal force. I see what you mean, but the thing is. The sentence should feel like one smooth thought. Now let's make your answer longer. I'll say, learning alone is the best way to improve your English. Start with a reaction. That's a good question. Then continue. I'm not really sure, but I'd say a mix of self-study and conversation works better. Your turn. Say the whole answer now. That's a good question. I'm not really sure, but I'd say a mix of self-study and conversation works better. Good. You are not searching for a perfect speech. You are building a bridge from reaction to opinion. Here is your final reflection. Think of one belief you have changed over time. Maybe you used to think you had to study for hours, avoid mistakes, or understand every word. Begin with this sentence. Actually, I used to think. But now I'd say. Add one specific example from your life. For example, actually, I used to think I had to understand every word, but now I'd say I can still follow the conversation if I focus on the main idea. Say yours slowly first, then say it again at a natural speed. These reactions make conversation feel human, and they become even more useful when plans change or a small problem appears. Reactions become even more useful when plans change because real conversations rarely follow the perfect schedule you imagined. A friend might text, "Hey, I'm running late. The restaurant is completely full, and there's at least a 40-minute wait. Do you still want to meet there? Or should we try somewhere else?" Listen once for the main problem, not every word. What changed? Your friend is late. The restaurant is full, and you need a new plan. Now respond naturally. No worries. What about the cafe near the station? That works for me if it works for you. No worries sounds warm and relaxed. You are not saying the delay means nothing. You are simply helping the other person feel less stressed. Repeat after me. No worries. What about the cafe near the station? Say it again with a calm rhythm. Let no worries flow as one small unit. Now imagine your friend says, "I'm not sure the cafe will have any tables." You could answer, "That's a good question. It depends on how busy it is. We can check when we get there." Notice the meaning of "it depends." You are not avoiding the question. You are explaining that the answer may change according to the situation. Try this. "I'm not really sure, but we could call first." Say it once slowly, then once at a natural speed. Good. You reacted before explaining, and that order matters. In fast conversation, people often show a reaction first and solve the problem second. Let's practice that now. I'll give you new information. React immediately, then offer an alternative. Your friend says, "The train is delayed by 20 minutes. You say, "No worries. We can grab a coffee while we wait." Next, "The meeting has been moved to tomorrow." Begin with, "That works for me," or give a different answer if it does not. A natural response is, "That works for me. What time should we meet?" Here is another situation. The tickets are more expensive than expected. Start with, "I'm not really sure, but." Then suggest a choice. You might say, "I'm not really sure, but maybe we should look for a cheaper option." One more. "Heavy rain has canceled your outdoor plans." Ask for the other person's idea. "What about you?" Keeps the conversation open, but your tone matters. Let your voice move gently upward so it sounds interested, not dismissive. Now let's rearrange an entire evening. I'll give you the situation, and you answer aloud, "I'm sorry, but I'm going to be late. The place we plan to visit is closing early." Begin with, "No worries. We could." Give one alternative now. Next, imagine I say, "That sounds good, but I may not have enough time to travel across town." Ask a gentle question or suggest something closer. You might say, "What about the restaurant near your office?" Keep your voice easy and natural. Then I reply, "That works for me, but I'm not really sure if they take reservations." You can say, "That's a good question. Let's call and check." Finally, I say, "They have a table at 7:30. Confirm the plan. Great. So, I'll meet you there at 7:30. Now connect the whole exchange without translating. Focus on the feeling. The plan changed, but the conversation stayed calm and flexible. In a moment, we'll shadow it at a more natural speed, listening for connected speech, contractions, and the quiet confidence behind each response. Let's hear the exchange again at a natural pace. Don't chase every sound. Listen for the problem, the reaction, and the new plan. I'm sorry, but I'm gonna be late, and the place we planned to visit is closing early. How would you respond? You could say, "No worries. We could grab dinner somewhere else." Calm, flexible, and helpful. Now I say, "That sounds good, but I might not have enough time to travel across town." Suggest somewhere closer. What about the restaurant near your office? Exactly. You don't need a long explanation. Just offer one useful idea. Listen again. That works for me. But I'm not really sure if they take reservations. Respond before I help you. That's a good question. Let's call and check. Then you hear, "They've got a table at 7:30. Confirm the plan clearly." Great. So, "I'll meet you there at 7:30. Notice how quickly that problem disappeared. Each person reacted, added something useful, and moved forward. Now shadow me, one line at a time. Keep your voice relaxed. "I'm sorry, but I'm gonna be late." No worries. We could grab dinner somewhere else. Now, what about the restaurant near your office? And one more, that works for me. Let's meet there at 7:30. Let's go slightly faster and connect the words. I'm gonna be late. We could grab dinner. That works for me. You don't have to copy every sound perfectly. Copy the rhythm and the emotional calm. A relaxed reaction gives your mind time to find the next idea. Ready for a quick challenge? The restaurant just canceled our reservation. React and offer an alternative. You might say, "Oh, no worries. What about the cafe next door?" Short, warm, and useful. Now the situation changes again. Actually, the cafe is much more expensive tonight. What would you say? Really? In that case, we could eat at my place. Good. That quick really makes your response sound human rather than mechanical. Last change. I may have to work until 8, but I won't know for another hour. Give yourself room to be uncertain. Try this. I'm not really sure, but we could decide later. What about you? Honest uncertainty is not weakness. You are still participating. If someone asks whether to wait or choose another day, say, "It depends. If you finish by 8, I'd still like to meet." That makes sense, doesn't it? "It depends" sounds warmer when you explain what the decision depends on. Fast English is not simply faster speech. It means staying present while the situation moves. Hear the change, react naturally, and shape a new plan. Now answer for yourself. When plans change suddenly, Are you flexible, or do you need time to adjust? Begin with, to be honest, and give one reason. Perhaps you said, to be honest, I need a moment because I like knowing what to expect. That's natural and thoughtful. Changed plans train quick reactions, but personal questions can feel harder because your answer matters. Next, we'll practice staying natural when you need a second to think. Personal questions can feel difficult because your answer matters. But you do not need to respond perfectly or immediately. Imagine someone asks, "What are you hoping to do next year?" You can begin, "That's a good question. Let me think for a second. Does that sound unprepared?" Not at all. It sounds honest and thoughtful, especially when the question deserves more than a quick answer. Compare this. I want to change careers. Now try. I'd say I'm interested in changing careers, but I'm still exploring the right direction. Can you hear the difference? The second answer gives you time, states your position, and leaves room for uncertainty. That is how natural answers often develop. Let's build one together. First, acknowledge the question. That's a good question. Then offer your position. I'd say I want to improve my communication skills. Now make it personal. I sometimes understand more than I can express. Finally, leave the door open. I'm not sure where it will lead, but I want to keep working on it. Notice the rhythm. You are not trying to impress anyone. You are telling the truth in manageable steps. Your turn. What is one skill you genuinely want to improve? Begin with, "That's a good question. I'd say." Then add one reason. You might answer, "I'd say I want to improve my speaking because I still translate in my head when I'm nervous." Simple, specific, and personal. Here is another question. What has changed in your life recently? Try, "Let me think for a second." Actually, I've become more careful about how I spend my time. Add a real-life detail. I used to say yes to everything, but now I protect time for the people and activities that matter. What about you? Maybe you have changed your routine, taken your health more seriously, or become more confident at work. One honest detail is enough. And what if your idea changes while you are speaking? Correct yourself calmly. "I'm more confident at work now." Actually, that's not quite what I mean. Then clarify. "I'm not confident all the time, but I recover more quickly when I make a mistake." That sounds thoughtful, not embarrassing. You do not need to apologize repeatedly. Simply guide the listener toward what you really mean. Now answer this. What is a decision you are proud of? Start with, "To be honest." For example, to be honest, I'm proud that I moved to a new city. It was difficult at first, but it taught me to trust myself. There is genuine feeling in that answer without oversharing. You reveal something meaningful while keeping a comfortable boundary. Let's make the exchange quicker. What are you working toward? I'd say I'm working toward a calmer, more independent life. Why does that matter to you? Because I want my choices to reflect what I value, not only what other people expect. That makes sense. Are you completely sure about your next step? I'm not really sure, but I know I want to keep moving in that direction. Excellent. You answered, explained, and stayed open to uncertainty. Hold on to that calm rhythm, because next we will add follow-up questions that arrive before you feel completely ready. Take a breath. Here comes another personal question. What is one skill you want to improve? Answer with me. That's a good question. I'd say I want to improve my speaking because I often know what I mean, but I need time to express it. Notice the pattern. You acknowledged the question, gave a clear answer, and added a reason. You did not wait for perfection. Now the follow-up. Why speaking rather than another skill? The thing is, speaking affects my confidence. When I express myself clearly, I feel more comfortable in everyday conversations. Personal, but balanced. You share enough to connect without telling your whole life story. Let's respond faster. What has changed in your life recently? Actually, I've become more careful about how I spend my time. I used to say yes to everything, but now I choose more deliberately. What caused that change? Answer quickly. To be honest, I realized that being busy was not the same as making progress, thoughtful and memorable. But was the change easy? Not really. I still feel guilty sometimes, but I'm getting better at respecting my limits. I appreciate that honesty. You left room for reality instead of pretending to feel completely confident. Now let's practice correcting yourself. I ask, are you trying to become more successful? You say yes, then realize that successful is not quite right. Try this, actually. That's not quite what I mean. I'm less focused on success and more focused on doing work I can be proud of. Excellent. You corrected the idea without apologizing. A correction is not failure. It is part of thinking aloud. Let's do a quick interview. What choice are you proud of? I'm proud that I started learning English seriously. I was nervous, but I continued anyway. What made you nervous? I was afraid of making mistakes in front of other people. Do you still feel that way? Sometimes, but I'm not letting that fear make decisions for me. That was quick, honest, and connected. One more. What are you hoping to do next? I'm not really sure, but I'd like to have more conversations in English and become more independent. Why does independence matter to you? Because I want to trust myself. even when I don't have every answer. That makes sense. Personal questions become easier when you find the simple truth first. Then the grammar can grow around it. Now imagine the conversation is no longer quiet. Someone interrupts. Another person joins, and an unexpected question comes your way. That is where real conversation gets harder, and where your faster responses begin to matter. In a lively group, that moment can come before you feel ready. You understand the topic, you form a comment, and just as you prepare to speak, someone else moves the conversation forward. Then your comment feels too late, so you stay silent. A minute later, it happens again. Have you ever followed an entire discussion without saying the one useful thing you wanted to say? If so, remember this: successful participation does not mean controlling the conversation. It means making one relevant contribution. You do not need the perfect opening. You need a short phrase that creates an opening. Listen, actually, I had a similar experience. Notice the stress. Actually, I had a similar experience. The main energy falls on similar experience because that is your contribution. Repeat after me. Actually, I had a similar experience. Again, a little faster. Actually, I had a similar experience. Good. Here is another way in. I see what you mean. This phrase shows that you have been listening. It connects your thought to the speaker, instead of making your comment sound sudden. Repeat, I see what you mean. The thing is, convenience can create new problems. Keep it brief and calm. I see what you mean. The thing is, convenience can create new problems. One more entry phrase. Can I add something? Your voice can be warm but clear. Do not let the final word disappear. Can I add something? Now let's create a fast group conversation. I will voice several viewpoints, and you will look for one moment to enter. Convenience definitely makes life better. I can order groceries in seconds, work from almost anywhere, and save time every day. That's true, but sometimes convenience makes us impatient. Even waiting 2 minutes for a page to load can feel annoying now. I'd say the real issue is how we use technology. Convenience itself isn't good or bad. Enter now. Agree. Share an experience, or offer a soft contrast. Start with one of our entry phrases. You might say, actually, I had a similar experience. Online shopping saved me time, but I started buying things I didn't need. Or perhaps, I see what you mean. To be honest, I think convenience is helpful when we use it intentionally. Did you notice how short those contributions were? In a fast group, a concise point often sounds more confident than a perfect speech. Let's try again, but this time, do not plan a full answer. Decide only whether you agree or disagree. Food delivery makes city life much easier, especially after a long day at work. Respond now. That makes sense. What about the extra cost? Excellent. You agreed and asked a useful question. That keeps the conversation moving. Now try a soft contrast. I see what you mean, but I'm not really sure convenience always saves time. Repeat it with steady stress. I see what you mean, but I'm not really sure convenience always saves time. You are not fighting for attention. You are showing that your thought belongs in the conversation and that quiet confidence makes it easier for others to listen. Confidence matters even more when someone speaks before you finish. In fast group conversations, interruptions are normal. So let's practice recovering without losing your idea. Begin with this thought. Actually, I think convenience can make us less patient because. Start speaking now. I interrupt. But convenience can also give people more time with their families. How do you respond without abandoning your point? Try that makes sense. I just think we become frustrated too easily when something takes time. Repeat after me. That makes sense. I just think we become frustrated too easily when something takes time. Good. You acknowledged my comment, then calmly return to your idea. That balance helps you sound confident rather than defensive. Let's try another one. Begin. Online services are useful, but the thing is. Now I add, some people depend on them because they cannot easily leave home. What could you say? Try this. I see what you mean. The thing is, we still need options for people who prefer human contact. Notice the pattern. First, show that you listened. Then bring back your point in one clear sentence. You do not need a perfect speech to stay involved. Now let's do a quick response round. Agree. Ask a question. Give an example. Or offer a soft contrast. Do not translate. Trust your first relevant thought. Working from home makes everyday life more convenient. Respond now. You might say, I'd say that's true for many people. Or ask, do you think it can also make people feel isolated? Either response keeps the conversation moving. Next, apps have made it much easier to stay connected with friends. What about you? Perhaps you answered, actually, I have a friend abroad, and we talk almost every week. A small real example makes your English personal and natural. One more, if something saves time, it automatically improves our lives. Give me a soft contrast. I see what you mean, but it depends on how we use the time we save. Thoughtful, clear, and not confrontational. Here is your final question. Has convenience made your life better, or has it created new problems? If you need time, begin naturally. That's a good question. Let me think for a second. To be honest, or I'm not really sure, but. Then give one reason and one real example. Speak now, even if your answer is not perfect. If you entered once, reacted to one idea, or asked one useful question, you succeeded. Group fluency is not continuous talking. It is responsive listening and contributing at the right moment. You have taken the biggest step, joining a fast conversation without waiting for perfect English. Next, we will sharpen your ear and your mouth together through sustained shadowing. Now let's sharpen your ear and your mouth through sustained shadowing. Remember, shadowing is not a race to catch every word. You are following rhythm, meaning, and intention. Imagine you are at a station. Your train leaves in 6 minutes, so you hurry to the platform only to see it pulling away. First, just listen. I was sure I had plenty of time. Do you hear the surprise and frustration? Listen again. I was sure I had plenty of time. The beat falls on sure, plenty, and time. The smaller words stay light. Now shadow me. I was sure I had plenty of time. Good. Was every sound perfect? It doesn't matter. Keep moving, because fluent speakers rarely stop a whole sentence to repair one word. Here comes the next thought. But when I got to the platform, the train was pulling away. Notice how got to the connects. The words do not disappear, but their edges soften. Say it with me. When I got to the platform, the train was pulling away. One more time. Let the disappointment fall on the ending. The train was pulling away. Now you face a choice. I could either wait 40 minutes or change my plans. The contrast lands on wait and change. Shadow me. I could either wait 40 minutes or change my plans. Did it feel easier the second time? That makes sense. You are following the movement of the thought instead of stressing every word equally. Let's connect everything. I was sure I had plenty of time, but when I got to the platform, the train was pulling away. I could either wait 40 minutes or change my plans. Here, the emotional sequence: confidence, disappointment, then decision. Shadow the full moment and keep speaking even if you fall slightly behind. I was sure I had plenty of time, but when I got to the platform, the train was pulling away. I could either wait 40 minutes or change my plans. Excellent. Let I could either flow forward and treat change my plans as one smooth unit. The story continues. So I decided to walk to a small cafe near the river. That little word so connects the problem to the action. Repeat naturally. So I decided to walk to a small cafe near the river. What would you have done? Waited for the next train, called someone, or changed your plans? Answer in one sentence. Perhaps you said, I would have waited for the next train. I see what you mean. Now add a reason using I'd say. Try this. I'd say I would have waited because I had an important appointment. A short answer plus one reason sounds natural and complete. In our story, the change led somewhere unexpected. I thought I would be wasting my afternoon. But the cafe was quiet, the weather was beautiful, and I ended up reading for 2 hours. Shadow the disappointment first. I thought I would be wasting my afternoon. Now follow the pleasant turn. But the cafe was quiet, the weather was beautiful, and I ended up reading for 2 hours. Beautiful. Natural storytelling has movement, a problem, a decision, and an unexpected result. Shadow that emotional rhythm, not only the words, and fast English will gradually become clearer. Let's bring rhythm and emotion into one complete story. Don't chase every word. Listen for the problem, the change in feeling, and the final result. I missed my train, so I decided to walk to a small cafe near the river. I thought I would be wasting my afternoon, but the cafe was quiet, the weather was beautiful, and I ended up reading for 2 hours. Did you feel the emotional movement? First came frustration, then acceptance, and finally relief. The problem stayed the same, but the speaker's attitude changed. You may be wondering, should I listen again before I speak? Yes, but stay close to the rhythm this time. Don't wait for every word to become perfectly clear. Fluent listeners keep moving. Listen, then repeat. I missed my train, so I decided to walk to a small cafe near the river. Let the smaller words become lighter. So I decided to flow as one unit, while missed, walk, cafe, and river carry more energy. Try it once more. So I decided to walk to a small cafe near the river. Good. You're not reciting separate words. You're following one moving thought. Now shadow the change in feeling. I thought I would be wasting my afternoon, but the cafe was quiet. Keep I would be soft, then stress wasting and quiet. Can you hear how the voice opens up near the end? The speaker is beginning to feel better, and the rhythm carries that shift. Continue with a warmer voice. The weather was beautiful, and I ended up reading for 2 hours. Link ended up naturally. Don't separate it too carefully. Now shadow the whole story at conversational speed. I missed my train, so I decided to walk to a small cafe near the river. I thought I would be wasting my afternoon, but the cafe was quiet. The weather was beautiful, and I ended up reading for 2 hours. Did one phrase slip away? Let it go. Fluent speakers don't stop a conversation to repair every tiny mistake, and you don't need to stop either. Now make the story yours. What would you have done after missing the train? You might answer, to be honest, I probably would have gone home. That's a good start, but can you add one detail? I probably would have gone home and used the extra time to rest. Or perhaps you would have explored the area. That makes sense. You could say, I'd have looked for a quiet place to eat because I don't often get time alone. Finally, speak from memory. Keep the rhythm, but release the exact wording. Begin with the problem. I missed my train. Add your reaction. So I walked to a cafe near the river. Then give the surprising result. I expected a wasted afternoon, but I had a wonderful time. Now retell it in your own words. The problem, your reaction, and the unexpected result. Take your time, but keep the thought moving. Beautiful work. Shadowing helps you feel the rhythm of fluent speech. Your next challenge is keeping that rhythm when you can't predict the question. And that is where real conversation begins. Let's keep the rhythm when a question arrives without warning. This is the no translation response challenge. Your answer does not have to be perfect. It only has to begin. Respond aloud. Start before the whole sentence is ready. If you need a moment, use a natural phrase, but do not restart because of one small grammar mistake. Fluency means continuing. First question, what kind of food do you usually enjoy? Begin now. You could say, I'd say I enjoy simple home-cooked food. To make it longer, add, I'd say I enjoy simple home-cooked food because it feels healthier and I can change the ingredients depending on my mood. Notice how I'd say gives you a gentle way into the conversation. Here's the next question. Do you prefer working alone or with other people? Start now. It depends. I prefer working alone when I need to focus. Or, it depends. I prefer working alone when I need to focus, but I enjoy working with other people when I need fresh ideas. It depends gives you time, but it also makes your answer more honest. Not every question has a simple yes or no answer. Now let's make it less familiar. If you could remove one ordinary task from your daily life, what would you choose? Take your chance and begin. You might say, that's a good question. I'd probably remove cleaning because it takes more time than I expect. That is already enough. For a fuller answer, try, the thing is, I don't mind a tidy place, but I don't enjoy the process of keeping it that way. Did you hear how I'd probably and I don't mind connect? Let the words touch. Do not pronounce every word like a separate stone. Natural speech moves forward. Here's another challenge. Would you rather know exactly what will happen tomorrow, or keep it a surprise? Begin with, I'm not really sure, but I'd probably choose the surprise. Then explain why, I'm not really sure, but I'd probably choose the surprise because knowing everything in advance could make life feel flat. And if you change your mind halfway through, keep going. Native speakers do that all the time. Fluency is not never changing your words. It is continuing after the change. Let's practice adjusting when the question is unclear. What is one place you would like to visit? Actually, let me clarify. I do not mean a famous place you have seen online. I mean somewhere quiet where you could spend a whole week. Start with, "Oh, I see what you mean." Then answer, "I'd choose a small town near the coast because I'd like to slow down and have fewer plans." That phrase shows you are listening and gives your mind time to adjust. You are not trapped by your first interpretation. One final challenge. What is a belief you have changed your mind about? React naturally, then begin. Let me think for a second. I used to believe that being busy meant being productive, but now I see the difference. You can expand it with, "The thing is, constant activity can make you feel important without helping you make real progress." That is the skill we are building. One reaction, one clear idea, and one continued answer without translating every sentence in your head. Before we move on, ask yourself, what about you? Then answer your own question in English and keep the conversation moving. Let's bring everything together. Don't wait for the perfect answer. Respond aloud, begin with a natural reaction, and keep going even if one sentence is not perfect. First question: what kind of weekend helps you feel refreshed? Begin now. You could say, "I'd say a quiet weekend at home." To make it longer, add a reason. "I'd say a quiet weekend at home because the thing is, I need time without a busy schedule to feel like myself again." Notice how "I'd say" gives you a starting point before every detail is ready. Next question: is it better to live in a big city or a small town? Start with, "It depends." Then continue, "Big cities offer more opportunities, but I'm not really sure I'd enjoy the constant noise and pressure." "It depends" is not avoiding the question. It is a real answer when your opinion has more than one side. Now try this. Would you rather have more free time or more money? Begin with, "That's a good question." You might say, "I'd choose more free time." Or expand it. "That's a good question. I'd choose more free time because I could take care of my health and spend time with people I love." Keep the sounds connected. "I'd choose" should flow as one small unit, not as separate, heavy words. Hear the rhythm in your mind and say the complete answer again. Let's make the next question less predictable. If you could remove one everyday inconvenience from your life, what would it be? A short answer is, "I'd get rid of traffic." A longer answer is, "I'd get rid of traffic. The thing is, losing time on the road affects my mood before the day even begins." Did you notice that you did not need a new plan for the second sentence? You gave the short answer first, then added a reason. That simple movement from short to longer answers is how fluency grows. Now try a repair drill. What do you usually do after work? Actually, I don't mean your routine. I mean, what helps you mentally switch off after work? Start with, "Oh, I see what you mean." Then answer the clarified question, "Oh, I see what you mean." I usually take a short walk because it helps me stop thinking about unfinished tasks. Don't cling to your first interpretation. Real conversations change direction all the time. A flexible speaker listens, adjusts, and continues. One last question. Are people becoming better at communicating or simply faster at sending messages? Give yourself time with, "I'm not really sure, but." Then say, "I'd say people are becoming faster rather than better." Quick messages don't always create real understanding. Now check your experience, not your score. Did you start faster? Recover after missing a word? Use a reaction phrase naturally? Complete a thought without translating every sentence. If you did even one of those things, you are moving forward. You have practiced reacting, expanding, repairing, and connecting your speech. Next, we'll bring these skills into one complete real-life conversation where you can respond naturally from beginning to end. Next, we'll bring these skills into one complete conversation. Imagine you meet someone you know at a quiet cafe. You have not seen each other for a few weeks, and they ask, "What's new with you?" Answer naturally. Start with, "That's a good question." Your turn. Say one change in your life, your work, your studies, or your routine. Good. Now continue with, "To be honest." Give one honest detail about that change. Maybe it has been exciting, difficult, or both. I might say, "To be honest, I've been working from a different place lately, and it has changed my routine." Now you respond, "It depends," and explain what it depends on. Your turn. Keep it simple. It depends. When I have more time, I let the idea come before the perfect grammar. Now imagine your friend says, "I think changing your routine is always a good thing." You do not completely agree. Begin with, "I see what you mean," and then add your own view. You could say, "I see what you mean, but the thing is, a new routine can also feel stressful at first." Now you try it with your own idea. Your friend asks, "So, are you happy with the change?" Take a breath inside the sentence and say, "Let me think for a second," then answer honestly. Maybe you say, "Let me think for a second. Actually, I'm happier than I expected." Notice how that opening gives you time without stopping the conversation. Your friend smiles and says, "Would you recommend this change to me?" Begin with, "I'm not really sure, but." Then give a thoughtful answer. Now add your opinion with, "I'd say." For example, "I'm not really sure, but I'd say you should try it for a week first." Your turn. Your friend suddenly changes the plan. They say, I can't stay for coffee. I have to leave in 10 minutes. Respond naturally. You might say, that makes sense. We can keep it short. Now do not end the conversation. Ask the return question, what about you? Ask about their recent change, routine, or decision. Listen to the shape of the exchange. React, answer, add one detail, and return the question. You are not building every sentence from zero. You are using the English already available in the moment. Let's run it again with fewer prompts. I say, hey, it's good to see you. What's new? You answer with a change and one honest feeling. Your turn now. Keep speaking for 2 or 3 sentences, even if one sound disappears. Stay with the meaning and continue. Stay with that answer and let the conversation move naturally. Your friend says, that sounds like a big change. Do you feel more confident now? Reply before you search for perfect words. You can begin, that's a good question. Your turn. Say, that's a good question. Let me think for a second. Then explain one honest feeling, such as, I feel more confident in some ways, but I still have difficult days. Notice what just happened. You did not need a perfect answer immediately. You used a reaction phrase, bought yourself a moment, and stayed connected to the meaning. Now your friend says, I'm thinking about making a similar change, but I'm worried it could affect my routine. Respond with, I see what you mean. Then add a helpful thought. Your turn. You might say, I see what you mean. The thing is, the first few weeks may feel uncomfortable, but your routine can become easier later. Good. Now, I will make the conversation less predictable. Your friend says, actually, I may not be able to meet next week after all. My schedule has changed. React naturally, without repeating the whole plan. Try, actually, that's okay. We can find another time. Then ask, what about you? And invite them to tell you what caused the change. Your turn now. Keep your voice moving. Even if you miss one sound, do not stop the conversation. Ask the question and listen for the answer. Let's make it faster. I say, it's good to see you. What have you been up to? Answer with a recent change, a feeling, and one extra detail. You have only a few seconds, so trust the first clear air idea that comes to you. Now your friend asks, would you do it again? Start with, I'm not really sure, but. Give your answer, and then use, I'd say, to make your opinion clearer. Your turn. Speak for 3 sentences. Do not translate each sentence. Let one idea lead to the next. Listen to the faster version in your mind. Good to see you. What's new? I've changed my routine. And honestly, it's been challenging, but I'm sleeping better. Would you do it again? I'm not really sure, but I'd say yes, with a few changes. Did you notice the reduced sounds in "What's new?" And "Would you do it again?" Native speakers connect words because they are carrying meaning forward. You do not need to catch every sound to stay in the conversation. One final surprise. Your friend says, "I thought you said the change was helping, but now you sound unsure." Clarify without becoming defensive. You can say, "That makes sense. I mean that it helps overall, even though some parts are still difficult." Your turn. Clarify your meaning, add one detail, and return the question. This is real conversation, reacting, adjusting, and continuing. Think about where you are now. You may still miss a word, but you are less likely to disappear into translation. You can stay present, respond with the English you have, and build a longer answer from one honest thought. From today, keep the routine simple. Listen to one short exchange, shadow it, answer one related question, and say the answer again with one extra detail. A few calm minutes each day can train your reaction speed. In your next real conversation, notice the moment you respond faster than before. That small moment matters. Fluent conversation grows when you trust the English already available to you, one honest thought at a time.